Hi guys. Are you hearing me now? Someone could just put in the comment that you can hear me. I've only done about one or two lives, so I'll probably get something wrong with the... So if anyone can, I'm kind of presuming you can't hear me until someone just put in the comment that you can. You see, maybe oh, loud and clear. Sorry, yeah. Oh, you have to swipe it up. Okay, here we go. There's just what's appearing to happen. There's just aliveness, wholeness, oneness. And we think about what oneness could be and we work towards it. And we hear from people who say they have found oneness or wholeness and they're going to tell us how to find it and get there. And for some, it feels that these people have gotten there and they have found this thing called wholeness and oneness, and they'll speak to them about what they did to get there and practices and so on. And this communication is completely different. It falls under the heading of non-duality, but it's different to the vast majority of communications because it's an illumination that actually already there's just wholeness, there's just oneness, there's just liberation, there's just boundless unconditional love already, because already there's no separate you. This sense of being separate is a story. It's a really felt feeling in the body that there's a you looking out on a world that's real, and then you're relating to other people and you are moving through life, and you have your life, you are making decisions, you're taking actions or not taking action and so on. And this is a simple direct illumination from nothing, that actually there is no separate you, there never has been. There's simply already wholeness, aliveness. So this is shared in this way, in a non-prescriptive way, because there's nothing to know, there's nothing to understand, there's nowhere to get to. How could there be? And it's shared in a way where people obviously have questions then, because most people, for the majority, there's a really lived sense of being a separate individual. So that sense of being an individual, they will bring they will come with a question and want to get something out of the communication, which is completely understandable and normal. And then when the question arises and the answer seems to arise from here, it's nothing to do with Kenneth, it's from nothing, then energetically there's just this, there can be this openness to another possibility, that actually it's not about me getting an answer to my question, and it's not about knowing or understanding. And energetically there can be a sense, this, the lived sense of separation can appear to fall away, possibly. Yeah, and that's it really. It's immensely simple what's yearned for when you feel like an individual. You think it's complicated and difficult and hard to get to, and experientially you feel that there are levels to knowing and understanding, and it's around the next corner or so. But actually, incredibly, what's yearned for is not difficult to get to, it's impossible. There's nothing to get, there's nowhere to get, there's nothing to know. It appears to hide by simply just already directly being whatever is appearing to happen. That's all. Directly, already, whatever is appearing to happen. It's not happening to you because there is no you. You are a story. So when there's a thought, there's just that. There's a thought. It's not your thought. That's the suggestion. When there's an emotion, joy, anger, whatever, it doesn't matter what the emotion is. It's actually that, just that emotion. It's not your emotion. But in what we take to be reality, we're continually spoken to. The individual is continually spoken to and addressed and um, fed that, it's your emotion, it's your thought, it's your life, always, continually. And that this is what we're accustomed to. This is quite a rare communication, really, if a clear communication like this. um, and that simplicity and ordinariness can just explode into everything. That what was seemed as ordinary and just somehow known and re- re- on repeat is suddenly nothing, and nothing is everything. So everything is always new. Everything is always new, and that's what's yearned for, and also what the individual is absolutely terrified of their absence, because obviously the individual wants to continue being an individual, and yearning for their absence also, because of this dissatisfaction with this apparent reality of me and the world around me, and a yearning for full-on aliveness. So that's the paradox. So we'll see. We'll just this is kind of a different format than I'm used to. I usually just take questions or whatever, but um, you can just put them in the. We can see what comes up in the chat, and we'll talk for a little while. I've got a Zoom at 2 o'clock, so if anyone is new to me, I can see some names coming up that aren't new to me at all, and you're well used to and know how to get into Zoom. But if you would like to attend the Zoom, just email me, and when I finish this, I'll send you the link. It's a small charge for attending. There you go. So if anyone has a question, just put it in the chat, and we'll see what happens. So I often hear about the apparent falling away of the self you describe by people who also say nothing can happen to change what is. Is there any way to explain this apparent contradiction? No, to the individual, this whole thing is incredibly paradoxical, and it will be so until there's no longer a sense of being separate. Um, when it's described, you'll hear the word apparent a lot. Because when I say the individual falls away, I'd usually say the individual apparently falls away, because the whole suggestion is there's already no individual, there's already no you there. So most people are probably on a phone now watching this. There's nobody holding the phone and looking at this face, this mug, coming up, and words, and listening to the words that are coming out. There's just the sound, there's just the image, there's just the sensations, there's just whatever's appearing around you. There's already no you there, and there never ever has been. Now, what appears to be is that there's energetically, there's this really felt sense of being a me. So it's not an idea. When you feel like an individual, it's not a concept or an idea. There's a really felt, energetic, cellular, contracted sense of being in the body, looking out on the world. And that's the way it feels. If then it feels absolutely real, then I have a life, you have a life, that's it. We're all moving in time and space in a linear manner, in a causal reality, and that's the way it is, until it isn't. And that can appear to, what's being suggested here is already known, because you were already just boundless wholeness, and this is already the case. So that sense of being an individual can just not appear to not be there, or not appear to be there. And then it's seen by nobody that it appeared to fall away, that you were never a separate self actually, and that it was always a story or a narrative. Okay, now they're flying in. I won't be able to keep up. Do I still play the guitar? Yeah, I don't play the guitar, but guitars. I love the guitar. I'm not very good at the guitar, really. Well, I'm not anything. It's just I'm still just learning, and I play. Sometimes I put stuff up on Patreon and stuff. But it's beautiful. Yeah, I love guitar. I love music. Music is life. Life is music. Aliveness, pure aliveness. And it's nothing being everything. Yeah. It's a musical note is as it's born, it's dying, it's there and it's not there, and there's no you who hears music, and there's no you who plays it. Could you speak about difficult family relationship? Yeah, so that would be what's appearing to happen. I'm not suggesting some sort of panacea for life, that everything will be rosy. It's not like that at all. This is not the solution to your problems at all. This is not what you think it is, what's being suggested here. It's not going to make everything great. So when there's no longer a sense of being a separate individual, everything is then a play of light. So an apparent difficult relationship is a play of light. It's energetically as it appears to be. And it's simply that. It's not good or bad or anything. And it will continue or appear to continue as it does, and everything just plays out the way it plays out. There's no separate individual that you are in some sort of a dynamic with, only in appearance of that. There was walking through a grocery store, and then I turned to look back, and this body was seen as a trace of transparent photos. Was that an experience for this person to know? Yeah, I mean that's something that appeared to happen there. So like these are happening. These sorts of glimpses appear to happen to people all the time. Sometimes there's a really a huge question about it afterwards. It's really something very significant and impactful, and maybe enormous, and maybe just something very well. What was that? Was that an experience? What was that? Um, and the suggestion is that actually that's not an experience for you. Another way of looking at this is that it's the individual who has an experience. So what you described, walking through the grocery store and maybe just seeing the translucence or the emptiness of everything, it's really that maybe the solid sense of you didn't appear to be there. So it's the opposite of what we think of. We think that something happened to me. I had an experience in the grocery store. Another way of seeing it is that there was sense of being you just wasn't there, didn't appear to be there, and then appeared to be there again. And then you then have what's called an experience, and you're wondering about it. So it was a lot. It's a lot. What's being suggested is about a loss, not a gain, and that's always the case. There never is a you. And it will never be like that again either. That's the other thing. The individual kind of grabs onto some experience and feels, oh, the grocery store thing and tries to search for that, have it again, recreate it, and kind of incorporate it into their life. And it's not like that. Can't ever be like that again. That's just how it appeared to be. Thanks, Kenneth. Nice to see you. I'm curious if you ever experienced fear during the time when the illusion of the individual apparently fell away. Yeah, all sorts of things happened. I couldn't really describe them. There was just a sense of being me, then there wasn't, and there was everything. It's totally indescribable. Everything was exactly as it was before and completely and utterly new and different because it wasn't me looking at it. There was just, it was completely ordinary and absolutely stunning, indescribably so. And nobody can, I can't describe it, and nobody can. And then Kenneth appeared to, of course, appeared to kind of come back and wonder what was that and try to have it and know it. And it was just seeing then that actually nothing happened to Kenneth. It was just the sense of being separate. It was a loss, not a gain. And so that whole story of me and the sense of being separate just appeared to kind of play out, and then just boom, 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 and didn't. It's not even a real thing that finished. And so anything could appear to happen in that, and anything could appear to happen now, but for nobody. So fear could appear. Why not? It is just full on aliveness. The difference is feeling that it's your fear. Same with everything else. Any emotion, anything, feeling that it's your emotion and it's a really felt sense, then everything is different then. It's me and my thoughts, me and my emotions, me relating to you, and everything is infinitely complex. It's not actually. It's directly, simply wholeness, unconditional love, appearing as whatever's appearing. It's too simple and ordinary what's being suggested. That's why it's continually overlooked. When you say there's no self, does that mean there are no thoughts about a self? So thoughts appear to happen. That's the suggestion, is that the difference is then that when you feel like an individual, you have a really felt sense that you are thinking. So they're your thoughts then. And that's kind of confirmed then in what we, everything around us, all of, our teachers and our parents and our the news people and the papers, and everyone's telling you, of course they're your thoughts and this is what you should do and da 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 da. It's very obvious when it's seen that there's just thinking in that case or anything else. There's no you that thinks ever. There's no you that was born, that lives their life and dies. There's just aliveness appearing as you. New in the chat, but I have no questions. I'm a long time listener and talks are very much enjoyed, apparently. Thank you. Oh, lovely to hear from you. Roop, I probably mispronounced your name. So the email is very simple. It's kennethmadden@gmail.com, and the Zoom is at 2 o'clock. So what have we now? 1:30 Irish time. So it'll be kicking off probably about 2:05. So kennethmadden@gmail.com. Kenneth, would you recommend pursuing this to apparent people? No, I'm not speaking to anybody. There is nobody to speak to. I can't recommend anything because there's nobody to recommend it to. This is just shared from nothing. It's a song, really, and most don't hear it and have no interest in it, and that's gorgeous. Or call it nonsense and rubbish and and that's what's appearing to happen. It's not anything. So I can't recommend anything to anyone. There is nobody already. There's just a simple sharing, and it can, it resonates as it resonates. It's heard as it's heard. It's totally and utterly energetic. That's all it is. It's not about knowing anything or understanding anything. It's the individual who knows. Is it easier for me to drop away if I'm Irish? Well, you're Northern Irish. Yeah, not Northern. The Northerners have a very low falling away count. I don't know what it is, but it's only Republican people. Free Staters. How quickly this explodes into controversy and politics. So So no, you're obviously joking, so I'm not even gonna, and I'm obviously joking. Um, why is it so attractive? The communication is attractive, not because of me, obviously, because that wouldn't make any sense. It's not. It's attractive, or it's what I would say about it is it just resonates with some people when there's a kind of a readiness or an openness to it, and it's a complete energetic resonance that they feel, just that's what it is. It's just so obvious what's being said. And what's interesting is it can resonate and at the same time be completely rejected. So the sense of you that feels like an individual, or the sense of being an individual, cannot hear this, does not want anything to do with it, or else will engage with it, but will turn it into some sort of concept, usually by kind of marrying it up with other beliefs, and this is Zen Buddhism, or this is like this, or this is like the power now, or this is the same as what this teacher is saying, or in some way, or just make a kind of its own thing out of it. um and really, it can't be understood. It's just energetic. So it's very common for that to be it resonates, and at the same time there's a wanting to get away from it, or it can either be either end of that too. So that's the way it is. And what about a 1-year-old? I don't know. Like, I mean, when I had kids, I felt, and even if you read the literature about children and their sense of being identity and things, a lot of it is about, it suggests that at around 6 months, the baby, the young infant, notices the world and the mother and themselves. In the first few months, it seems that there's just aliveness, and there's because they don't even differentiate between being or feel separate to the mother, and then in that sense they kind of notice that there's they feel separate to the mom. That can be anything from 6 months up, and then energetically you can see then there's a sense of identity and a sense of separation appears to from quite a young age, really. And but that's very boundless in the beginning, and then it becomes more kind of constricted and more of a solid, the narrative of me starts to become kind of more and more solid then. Apparently. um is the death of me final, or can the illusory me come back? Yeah, I mean, there is no me, really. There's already no me. There's so energetically it either feels like there's a sense that there is a me or there isn't. And what can happen then is that it doesn't feel like you're separate. There's just what's happening, and then it can feel like you're separate. A lot of people kind of refer to that as mean and being. um and that can just appear to continue till physical death, maybe. I don't know, I have no idea. Liberation then is just, it's indescribable. There's just what's appearing to happen. That's it. So it's not, nothing actually happened. There was never a me there. And then when I say there's just what appears to happen, anything could appear to happen, anything. And if even if it was a sense of separation would appear to happen, but it wouldn't be a problem because it would just be another thing that's appearing to happen. So, like everything, it would just appear to be there and then not be there. What's the book behind me with a hand? Oh, that's just a photography book. Yeah, it's what Germans wanted or something. If you Google it, it's quite nice photos actually. That's it's one of the photos from the book. Everyone thinks it's a mold when they see it. How often do you do the live talks? I haven't been doing them at all. I've been meaning to get back to them. So I've got a locals account which I've been neglecting. So I need to. What I'm going to do is figure out how to go live on locals and across then YouTube live, Facebook live, and locals live. And I'm trying to figure out exactly when I'll do that. It probably will be a Friday. So yeah, it's something different. I like it. If you're on my mailing list anyway, I'll tell you what's going to happen, even though I didn't announce this one. So you don't have this center of existence. Where does your experience start from? So actually, it's only the individual who experiences. So it's yeah, there has to be a sense of separation to have an experience. And if you think about an experience, really, there's what's appearing to happen, and then there has to be a you that it's happening to. So then there's you having an experience of what's appearing to happen. So that's two, and this suggestion is not two. And it's incredible, like you would imagine, we're so accustomed as an individual to an experience, it's impossible to imagine what someone not having an experience. It's just impossible. In the exact same way that it's impossible to imagine when someone speaks like this, that there's not someone speaking like this. If you feel like someone, because you will only see someone else, it's impossible. So that's the way it will be till it isn't. And when it isn't, then it's just very obvious that everything is just energy, and an experience is just an appearance, because you're just an appearance. So I often say at the start of a talk that what's being discussed or shared is not an experience and it's not a state. That's the other thing, because logically you would think it's an experience or it's a state, and it's not an experience or a state. It's just it's too immediately, ordinarily, simply aliveness to it just can't be explained. It's inescapable what's being spoken of. You can't know it or have it, and it's already whatever's appearing. It's just aliveness, and it's not awareness, or it's nothing to do with awareness or consciousness. That's the other that's the other one that people often um, get kind of caught up in, because awareness and consciousness obviously is just another. It's just a feature of knowing or an aspect of knowing. Uh, so there is nobody here who has an experience, and there's no start or end to anything. It's in this, that's the way things are, obviously. But when you feel separate, then you feel there is a beginning and a middle and an end. In the big narrative is my birth, and then I had my life, I did this, I did that, and then I'll die. And it's all a story. There's no you who ever had a life. Nobody's ever died. Only apparently. In the story it looks like that and appears that way. And it could be peaceful and beautiful, or it could be immensely painful, and that's what's appearing to happen. Does the feeling of being separate from others make it hating others more? I don't really understand that. I don't. All I see is unconditional love, because all there is energy appearing as people. Some of them, when a lot of them, when they speak, you can tell that they feel like individuals, and that's what appears to happen. They just feel like individuals. There's nothing wrong or right with that. It's a story, instead of people who, when they feel like they have a life, it's not a story. Everything is real. They live in the real, and it's everything is really happening, and they're in a dualistic dream of good and bad and right and wrong. And it's just as it appears to be. There's nothing right or wrong with it. It is that way until it isn't. Yeah, anyone who's subscribed to the mailing list, my admin staff are on a day off today, so I'll be responding to you. So I'll need to do it after I get off this. Then I'll send you the link. Regarding the horrors that continue in the news, the continuous suffering of so many beings on the planet, what is the non perspective? So it's aliveness. Everything is only aliveness. It's completely impossible to understand. It's beyond the mind. And actually, what happens is the apparent individual will, because it's in that game of opposites, will say, well, it's just energy. What they'll say is, so you're saying, and I'm not saying, you're saying that this war, that's okay, then that's good. And because that's how the individual, it's in this play of opposites. And I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying, this is not the suggestion that bad things are in fact good. They're not. Our painful things are pain is pain. It's energy as pain. That's obviously then wholeness, even if you think about it logically. The immediacy, because no time, no space, and therefore no gap. Yeah, there's space and time are appear to be absolutely real from the sense of you being separate, and then in that, it's like some people, scientists sometimes call it like an interface. There's this sense that there's once there's an other, then there's a distance in time and causality, and it appears, it's an appearance. That's what's being said. Are there separate energies? No, only it's there's only one wholeness. This is everything. This sitting here speaking like this is everything appearing as sitting speaking like this. One without a second. Everything is nothing and nothing is everything. And it's totally and utterly beyond the mind. You will not understand that ever. If you do, you've just got a concept. What's the perception of death? So basically, um, as an individual, when as a child I wondered about what's death, and is it that I had this idea of this kind of black void, this emptiness, what is it? What is it? And when you feel like a separate individual, there's the individual is dualism, is the play of opposites. So there's a thing called life and there's a thing called death. There's aliveness and then there's me with my aliveness. There's the world and me, and that's out of this separation. There's this play of opposites, and that's the way if they feel real. And when there's no longer a sense of being a separate individual, it's very obvious there's not life and death. There's not everything and nothing. Same thing I'm saying. Actually, there's just what appears to be, which is nothing appearing as everything. So life and death aren't these separate things. So it's very clear that nobody actually dies and nobody lives. So you're not, there's just aliveness. This is a suggestion that you are not living your life. So all of this nonsense you're hearing about live your best life, be the best version of yourself, all of this stuff, it's not bad or good or anything. It's just a story to an apparent you. And this is a different communication, which is making the very clear, uncompromising suggestion that you don't have a life. You never had a life. There's just aliveness. There is no separate you. Energetically, that can be really that can be just very obvious. When people ask me about should they attend the meeting, I have no idea. It's up to you. You'll either appear to attend the meeting or you won't. I have no idea. The meetings are there. Obviously, like, is the meeting, is there a difference between virtual and of course there is. Like, of course there's, it's like sitting down with a friend. Would you like to do it over the catch up of the phone or just sit with them? It's not better or worse or anything. And sometimes it resonates over Zoom very strongly, and that's the way it is. So I love nothing more than there's such a passion here. This is always new for me. It's stunning because it's not anything to do with me. So there's just this sharing, there's a gathering where people can just speak. They can just say anything really to do with what's being suggested, and you can't go wrong or right. It's and energetically, there can be this openness to this absolute boundlessness to that. Can be very obvious. But I have no idea what's going to appear to happen because there already is no separate individual. So I don't speak to any individual. So whether they sense that whether their sense of individuality is stronger or appears to weaken, I have no idea. Who is listening if there's no me? Nobody. There's already nothing. As I was saying in the beginning, it's impossible. If you feel like a me, you will immediately wonder, who is it that can hear this then? There has to be a me. You're in, as an individual, you're in a subject-object reality in which there has to be somebody for anything to happen. And until that sense of separation is no longer, it's very obvious then that there is nobody. This is nothing being everything. Yeah, there's a Zoom today at 2 o'clock, so it's going to be in about 10 minutes. I just have to get it going now here. And so if anyone isn't, just email me at Kenneth Madden, and I'll send you the link. Otherwise, it was nice chatting to you, and nice to see you. Thanks. Okay, take care. I probably try and do these more regularly, maybe on Fridays. We'll see. Who knows? Thanks. Thank you. Thanks very much. Ciao.